The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Monday in the Riv. Monday in the Riv, with all the machinations that happened over the weekend.
It's a week before Christmas.
It's a week before Christmas, and all through the government center, the only creature that was stirring
was Jazel Correa.
Was Jazel.
Well, I called the city clerk's office this morning to find out about the objection that was filed. The mayor filed an objection to the recall petition at 4:55, 5 minutes before the deadline on Friday. So there wasn't time for the city clerk or the city clerk's office to make available any of the information. I called this morning, and they are putting together a press package for later on this morning or this afternoon for it to be available. We won't have, obviously, to you until Wednesday, but keep your eyes tuned and keep watching us. As you may or may not know, we try to stay on top of this, and we do use our Facebook page to publish important information, so please follow us on Facebook as well.
Yeah, we'll have it on, as soon as we get it, I'm sure CJ will post it, and we can discuss it on Wednesday, because, you know, it's a typical political deal to wait till just before close on business Friday, so there can't be any discussion or any kind of over the weekends, and it takes everybody a few days. But he did it, and he I probably objected to the fact that anybody objects to him being mayor. So I object. I object to that objection. And, he probably objects to the fact that we're trying to take his job away. Oh, yeah.
If you remember during the Flanagan recall,
yep.
An objection was filed.
Yes.
And we had to go before the election commissioner.
Yes, we did.
But what happened with all the election commissioners? They all had to recuse themselves.
Because they're appointed by the mayor.
So I don't know what this mayor thought he was going to do, but they all have to recuse themselves because they're all appointed by the mayor. Yeah. They can't hear it. So the mayor's going to have to file it in court anyhow.
Yeah, well, it's a delay tactic. You know as well as I do. It's just like with the Flanagan recall. They did everything they could to delay it, to try to get some traction. The only difference is, scenario-wise, it's a recall, but it's apples and oranges, because our recall was recalling a popular mayor.
Right.
In spite of the fact that he was doing a terrible job, we had an $8 million shortfall in the budget, all the other issues. He's a very popular mayor at the time. He's still popular.
Correct.
He's personable. He was popular, and he got elected by an overwhelming margin. And we had the advantage of them at the beginning of our recall. We were the laughing stock of the Flanagan administration. They thought that we didn't have about as much chance as a snowball in hell of even getting anything going. But this mayor is not popular right now, very unpopular. So the recallers didn't have any problem. They didn't have to go out and solicit. People ran up to them to sign. But the thing is, the process, that's what a lot of people don't understand. The process is still the same. The law is still the same. A recall is a recall. Everything, and I believe that even former Mayor Flanagan said on his, at least I was told, on his radio program, that he doesn't know what they can take to court, because everything possible that could have been adjudicated was during our recall. So there are precedents and there are rulings on virtually every aspect that you can do. We had the challenge. We did have the objection. We had the handwriting expert. We had So the reality is all this stuff has already been, been there, done that. And but it's a delay tactic. We all know why he's doing it. He can see the handwriting on the wall. There's going to be a recall election at some point, and he probably will not be mayor, and he's going to hang on to that paycheck, at least in my opinion, as long as he can. All the other euphemisms and convoluted logic he hangs on to, like he's doing a wonderful job of objecting or whatever. It's just rhetoric, and the reality is he's hanging on to his paycheck and taking care of all his friends, trying to find a soft place for them to land when he's out of here.
Yeah, and you know, again, the thing is too that this recall could affect his bail, because his bail requires him to be employed.
Yep.
And outside of being a city councilor and the mayor, he's never held a job. He's never held a job except selling shoes at Nordstrom.
Well, Amazon's hiring.
Yeah, his claim to fame was supposedly bringing Amazon here.
Which he didn't. But which he didn't.
So he might as well.
He took credit for another mayor that began the process, and the other. But the reality is, oh, Amazon's. But then again, I don't know. Can he pass the background check now? I don't know. But you know, you're right. Conditions. You have to have a job. You also have to have a residence.
Well, he does. He's living with mommy.
But that is in question by his own parents, supposedly. He's living with his parents, but his father said he was very clear he does not live there.
I know.
But I guess Dad doesn't go to the basement a lot. Because look for him. He's down there.
He might be in a corner crying, but he's down there. Oh, God.
So the council will readdress the trash bag amnesty.
Well, because if you remember, Sean Kadim at the last city council meeting objected to everything.
Yeah.
And I can understand why he did it. He was trying to make a point. Do I think it was a good way of making a point? Not really. But the people were screaming that they're not going to have amnesty, they're not going to have amnesty. This is still in plenty of time to grant you amnesty on the bags, because it doesn't start until the 26th of December.
Yep.
And it runs until the 2nd of January. So guess what? You got a whole week for it to even go into effect. So if they approve it tomorrow night, you'll be all set. And I'm pretty sure they'll approve it tomorrow night. But if they can approve it now, why can't they just approve getting rid of it altogether?
You're right. But look, we know it doesn't work. Like I said, I know people. I drive by every trash day. And since the beginning of the program, I've never seen a purple bag in the trash, and I see all the recycles and plastic bags. So, you know, they say there's enforcement. I want to see the enforcement. I want to know how much money and fines they collected. Somebody said they did get a ticket at one time. I don't know. In the history of the thing, did they give out like 25 tickets?
Well, John Perry turned around and said there was a little over $4,000 collected in fines.
Well, they also said that they had cameras at the. Do I trust the city or any city official who got his job, got appointed to his job and didn't have to take a competitive exam's word on anything? Sorry, I just don't. You know, I'm sorry. I've seen him. I've seen it reversed so many times. It's, you know, the 22 windows, you know. I mean, even the mayor didn't know they put windows in his office for a while. And now when he talks about the 22 windows, supposedly he gave a full explanation of how it happened, the way it happened, and it's all baloney. But I know one thing, even if what he said was true, there were no consequences for that action. Nobody got any punishment for not following the law, not going out for bid, because there was a whole bunch of things. But again, this is government at its best. They screw up, they waste your money, somebody gets rich, somebody gets a stipend, and the only thing that happens is your taxes and fees go up. That person doesn't get a pay cut, doesn't get fired, doesn't get suspended. No. But hey, that's what it is. So trash bag amnesty, yeah. I mean, there have been people that have had a trash bag amnesty since the inception of the program. So forgive me if this isn't one of my most exciting items that we have here. So, you know, if they're going to talk about it, and that's what the city council does best down there in the Chamber of Horrors. They talk about things and don't do anything. But then we have the redevelopment authority. Didn't you mention this in the Weekend Flush?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. So why don't you expand? I read that you were pretty accurate on that in Weekend Flush. So anybody who hasn't read CJ's Weekend Flush, he covered this little item pretty well.
Well, it's interesting because Mike Dion, the executive director of CDA, the Community Development Agency, is doing the books now. Amazing, all these people, right? Doing something else.
We've got, let me see, we got a CFO, we got a city administrator, we got a city auditor, we got a city treasurer, we got assistant auditors, assistant treasurers, assistant to the assistant to the assistant, and a guy from CDA is doing the books.
Yeah. Well, he said that at the beginning of the 2018 fiscal year, I guess, there was $3.2 million cash. $3.2 million cash in an account for the RDA. And as of the most recent review, there is currently as of December 3rd, there's $2.3 million left in that cash account. Where did $900,000 go, I wonder?
There's only one question that we have to answer, and I'm not sure, because it was 3.2, now it's 2.3.
Was it reversed?
Is Mike dyslexic? Is there actually 3.2 and he reversed the numbers? And if that's true, like as you said in a week, where's the 900? Where's the almost $1 million that's missing?
It's only $1 million.
And you also talked about the $166,390 cash balance in the parking garages that are falling apart. And how many dollars have ever been spent on maintaining those garages?
Nothing.
Zip, nada. That's it. And then we want, and you wonder why I go nuts when people don't vote these people out and go crazy, because we pay for all the lack of maintenance on every building in the city of Fall River. And you look at they got a building and ground supervisor in the school department. We got a community maintenance that's commissioned to maintain buildings. Yet every single building in the city, be it fire station, police station, even the DCM buildings, school buildings, they're all in total disrepair. And what do we get out of that? We get another bond to fix it. They let it go for 20, 30 years without spending a dime on it, and then we pay again. And we're paying these people 6 figures. Welcome to government. Welcome to government. The place where incompetence is richly rewarded.
Well, you know, here's the thing. The RDA is trying to dump the garages onto the city to let the city pay to repair them. You've got $2.3 million in cash left in an account. Yeah. According to your own figures, it's going to cost about $2.3 million to fix them. Spend the cash on fixing the garages.
Why would you do that?
I know.
Why would you maintain? And I mean, look, let's face it. A parking garage doesn't need a lot of maintenance if you keep up with it.
That's right.
I mean, that's one of the most lucrative businesses in the world. Go to Boston and see how much it costs to park around a state house or even away from the state. I think the cheapest rate I've ever seen in Boston is a minimum of $20.
Right.
If you're in there for like 10 minutes. If you park around a state house, it's $35 and up. And there's cement. There's cement and steel. You're telling me that you couldn't see if you needed some work on that stuff and keep up with it? No. You put in a little bit of money, you're making $1 bazillion on those things. I mean, I don't even want to hit the lottery. Just give me a parking garage in Boston.
And you're all set.
I don't care. Just give me the garage. Just give me a parking garage. I don't want to hit the lottery. That is hitting the lottery.
That's right. That's right.
But they don't spend a dime. They just let it fall apart, and then we pay. Somebody pay. You know, taxpayers pay. Well, and now they're going to dump it back on the city. And
the sad part about it is this item was tabled by the real estate committee because they don't want to take this back. It's, again, it's a pink elephant. You know what I mean? Or
yeah.
a white elephant, or whatever you want to call it.
It's a multicolored elephant.
It's a multicolored elephant because it's ridiculous. Why should we take it back? RDA owns it. Let RDA maintain it. And if they can't maintain it, then close the thing down.
Well, guess what? If it was a real business and not a public, fundamentally a public business, because you got federal government, state government, local government running things. This is the difference. If you were in private industry and you let the thing fall apart, you know what happens to you? You're out of business.
Well, what was...
You're out of business.
I know.
And you have to give away, you can't even give away the property. So, but that's the thing. There are consequences in the real world for being a screw-up. In government, there are no consequences. You not only get a pay raise and a stipend, but you get to fix it with more money, because now you can go out and rebond and then increase everybody's taxes and fees and just keep paying.
But Mary Sahadi already made it clear when they were talking about the 80 to 84 North Main Street property.
Yep.
The city can't bond anymore because of the New Durfee High School.
Yeah.
They don't have the bonding capability.
And we also have the worst bond rating, but of course she didn't mention that.
No.
It's like you saying, well, I want to go buy a car, but I've maxed out 72 credit cards, and they want to give me an interest rate of 89%. Yeah, they'll let you buy a car, and then they'll repossess it in 2 days because you can't pay. See, again, we get government. And Fall River and our council never, ever call them on that. They talk about bond after bond after bond, and they approve bond after bond after bond with a total disregard for the taxpayer. Because this is like when you can't pay off your credit cards and you're so deep in debt and you got 72 credit cards, that's it, you're done. You go to the bank, try to get a loan, but the bank says, beat it. What do you got $700,000 in bills and you make $40 a week. You can't pay. Beat it. Government never does that. Screw the taxpayer. They will keep bonding until we can't get bonds. We'll be at junk bond status. That's the next step for Fall River. They said in front of our clowncil, we have the worst bond rating in the state. Why would you bond? Why would any person with a brain bond when you're going to get a horrible rate? You got good credit, you can go finance a car for 1.90%, but you got to have good credit. Go there and try to get a car when you got no credit. If you get a car, you're going to pay through the nose. They don't care how much we pay. They don't care how much interest we pay. They don't care how much bonds. How many bonds we have. They do not care. We are pushing $1 billion in bonds and in overall debt. I remember, God, how long ago? Sean Kadim was the city administrator. And we had a meeting in Boston. And he was up there. And Linda Pereira was a city councilor. And she went to that meeting. And our state delegation was there. And even then, Kadim said we were $500 million in debt. And we're far deeper in debt now. That's $500 million. And that was, well, how many years ago? God, Kadim that's probably almost a decade ago now.
Yeah, probably.
And we were $500 million in debt now, but nobody cares. Nobody cares. You go for a loan and they find out you're up to your ears in debt. See the kind of rate you're going to get. But like I said, this is the problem, and you people wake up. You got those 9 Nimrods sitting in a seat, spending your money, and then they blame the mayor. Well, they're culpable too. They are just as much at fault. As a matter of fact, they're even more at fault because they approve the spending. The mayor can propose anything he wants. If they say no, he can't do it. So don't just blame him, and I hate to give him an out on anything, but it's a fact. That's a reality. The reality
mayor proposes, the council disposes.
The reality is they can complain about all this stuff. They're going to complain about the stipends again. What are they going to do about it? Except flap flap their gums, the alligator mouths. So they're going to flap them, but is anybody going to say, okay, you keep these stipends, we want a list of all the stipends that didn't appear in the budget, and we're going to reduce the budget next year that you proposed by that amount?
Exactly. But they don't do that.
No, are you kidding? They're going to complain. They're going to say this is an outrage. They're going to make all of the saber rattling and posturing. And when it gets down to the bottom line, they're going to do absolutely nothing except vote to increase your taxes and your fees again.
And then you look at some of the city councilors, they'll never vote for those things. Like Steve Long, he'll never vote to reduce the budget. Leo Pelletier will probably never vote to reduce the budget. Derek Viveris, I have no idea, but I don't think
I don't even know if he knows what he's voting on. So, then again, it might be nice to hear him speak because he speaks so infrequently, I couldn't identify his voice.
It's a little crazy.
But the Redevelopment Authority, CJ did a nice job in breaking this down.
And they also met in executive session. Now, they complained so much about Ken Fiola and the extra fill.
Yep.
They're now going to hire an outside consultant. Here we go again. To review the project.
God, can anybody do their job? Can anybody in this city that's a department head do their job?
Well, this is the
whatever happened to the concept we had years ago? Remember in the bygone days, in the medieval days, when we still had the torture chambers and the city council, when they used to call Frank Manning in with DPW and grill him and then censure him for not doing his job and saying, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? No, we just keep paying and keep giving them stipends and giving them assistance. Now the DCM guy needs Jen Andrade with a $10,000 stipend to do what his job is, which is to run the damn snow removal. That's his job, and he's got an assistant, and they've got sector captains or whatever euphemism they use. We got all these tiers of management and oversight, yet we got to give the chief of staff 10 grand to come in and do what? This is just. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. I remember on numerous occasions Superintendent Nagel being called in front of the council. I remember Frank Manning being called in front of the council. I remember the police chiefs being called in front of the council. I remember the fire chiefs being called. When there was a question about what was happening, and it was unique that all these people, if Jen Andrade's getting a stipend, get rid of the head of DCM. I mean, if he can't do his job, and every time there's a problem, somebody in City Hall is going to get a stipend to help them, why do we need them? That's just a simple question, that really needs answering. And if you're a taxpayer and this doesn't really drive you crazy, and as a matter of fact, even though he's not getting anywhere near a stipend, he is getting a stipend for snow removal. Perry's getting a stipend.
Yes, he is, $3,000.
Yeah. So.
And he, before Jen Andrade,
I got to check, does the fire chief get a stipend for putting out fires?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. The police chief get a stipend for making arrests?
I don't think so.
What the DCM's job is to maintain buildings and clear snow and do this kind of stuff.
And they all get stipends.
Why would you need a stipend?
Well, because you got to remember, the union negotiated those stipends for the DCM workers, and they are doing extra work. They're working overnight. They're doing all of that. So
are they getting overtime?
Yeah, they are.
All right. So look, negotiate a higher overtime rate. Negotiate something else. Look, stipends are a way of giving people pay raises without bringing it in front of the council.
That's right.
That's what a stipend is. Let's call a spade a spade. The reality is a stipend is a way for him to give people pay raises and not let it show in their base salaries. So people don't start throwing their hands on their head and going, oh my God, I thought she made $70,000 when she's making $150,000 with all the stipends. And it goes back forever. Remember when Mayor Lambert had CDA paying his secretary,
Yep.
who then became the chief of staff.
And that was found to be illegal.
And that was found to be illegal. All these things, there's a very simple reason for these stipends. They're making enough money. People in Fall River who are living on $22,000 a year per capita income, they look at their salaries, which are public record. You can go out and take their contract and see what they get paid. Now, they look at the salaries, and they used to put the top 20 salaries in the paper and the top 50 salaries in the newspaper, and people used to be horrified. Now, they'd be more horrified if they added the stipends, because this is a way to have them make a lot more money without it showing, because people are upset enough that in a city where people can barely make $30,000 for a family, people are making 6 figures for doing nothing and having 20 assistants. But that's not even the full picture, because you don't see the stipends when you look at their base salary. So look, that's what they're for. They're there to hide a pay raise. And you know what Shakespeare said? A rose by any other name, a stipend by any other name is still a pay raise. So that's you know, we've got the housing authority doing the job again of the city. So Mike Dion, wear another hat. He's going to look like the court jester. He's got so many hats on.
It's getting to be ridiculous.
It is.
I mean, nobody in this city does their job. They do everyone else's job and more. And I mean, that's probably the worst part about it.
That's right. But you know what the worst part about it is, CJ, that we never ever see a major turnover in these jobs.
No, we don't.
I mean, you look at the city council. You got people that have been there since the Middle Ages.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
and they've come back.
They come back. Yeah, it's like a bad penny.
Bad penny.
They keep,
back.
Everybody's complaining about Steve Camara. They booted him out in '95 when he did exactly the same thing he was doing today. When he was president of the city council, him and what they referred to
as the Portuguese
Mafia, the 5 Portuguese councilors voted as a bloc for the entire time, and the people were outraged, and they booted the 5 of them out.
Yep.
That was the biggest turnover in a council in my lifetime. And they booted the 5 of them out. But look what happened. It shows how memories, they have no memories. They don't understand if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. We repeat it. They re-elected him. And now everybody's complaining about him objecting to everything and inhibiting the process of government. And to get back to what you said at the beginning of the show, the objection, and you disagreed. I disagree with that entire part of the charter, as I disagreed with the whole charter. That objection has no merit. It's just a political vehicle for them to delay government.
Right.
The business of the people. Anytime somebody wants to stop something so they can make political deals until the next meeting, no valid reason for an objection. The thing could be the greatest. You could have a resolution to support mom and apple pie. And if somebody objects, it's done.
That's it.
Finished till the next meeting.
We
can't even all say we like mom and apple pie without somebody objecting and saying let's delay it. If that isn't an absolutely, political thing, it's nothing. So if that doesn't get you angry, I don't know what will.
I don't know either. Hey, it's great seeing you all. See you on Wednesday, the day after a clowncil meeting, so you know it's going to be a good show.
Wonderful.
You know it's going to be a good show. So have a great day, and get your Christmas shopping done as soon as you can. Have a great day, everybody.
And if you can't, have a good time.